Welcome to Courageous Conviction. Remember that Jeff and I record each Saturday 5 episodes. So please hit the like button, subscribe so you catch all 5 episodes. We usually start out with one theme or topic. We have to go down a lot of rabbit holes to really understand it. Some things are more sensitive than others right now, what's going on in the world. So hit the like button, subscribe, and let's jump into this video. And the boys at BYU, Sir Domitian, AP, he's doing all the right things, buried in the temple. Great. They're twins. The other one with the other root. I've told that story. Hey, we don't have a lot of time today, Jeff, so I want to get back over to patriotism, bud. Let's get back to that. I want to get back into Stostel's interview with Gloria Alvarez that we were not able to do a couple weeks ago. We want to jump into that real quick a little bit?
Absolutely. I mean, this is an election year. We're really divided as a country. There's some idiotic things that are going on here. I think that, I know there's a lot of people that have a disdain, especially members of the church, for Trump because he's a loudmouth and says a lot of things. There's some things that, that are questionable there. But I think the biggest thing, even a brother of mine who's an attorney, him and I were talking, he's not a Trump guy. But he's like, the one thing about Trump, and he's from New York, you got his law degree there, this brother of mine. And he goes, the thing about Trump right now that a lot of people are looking at are like, well, what's the big deal with everybody trying to take him down? That is a big issue because, why are they investing so much time and money and resources and lying, just about everything with Trump to take him down? So much so that it's like, well, if that's what you're trying to do, and it's coming from this big cabal within the, the deep state, everyone wants to talk about that right now, but there is something there. These are the Gadianton robbers, the secret combinations of people that have.
Oh, it's there, Jeff. That's all. It's all there. If anybody does any research, it's easy to see. Yeah,
it's just coming out of the woodwork, So we're trying to save this patriotism thing, everybody's trying to point fingers and saying, well, the Republicans are wrong or the Democrats are wrong. Let's just get back to normal, acceptable patriotism, not nationalism, but patriotism. Like I am for God and country. And as long as nobody's trying to take away our First Amendment or a Second Amendment or trying to rewrite the Constitution, then I'd be okay. But we're not in that right now.
That's your problem.
We have this big issue with with people that are in politics, and we're talking the Pentagon. We're talking people that are influencing and writing for the Pentagon, and these high political positions that are being they're giving talking points, and they're trying to change the world based on these really bad ideas, and they have nothing to do with maintaining the Constitution, our constitutional rights, or the amendments. It's everything, opposite of that. They're trying to destroy that. So we need to fight against that on any level. At this point, this is a very serious thing. I know we need to be peaceful, but this is not something that we're going to play around with.
Well, once freedom's gone, it's all gone.
No, this is a fight.
Freedom back. Yeah, you don't get freedom back without bloodshed.
On whatever level. I mean, give me a break. You want to take away the First and Second Amendment? You want to redo the Constitution? Expect a fight and be taken down.
It's going to get voted out, Jeff. It's going to get voted out. And I'm going to show that. I'm going to show that when we go down to Ecuador and I do the interviews of the really good people that are coming here. And it's funny because I don't want to go back to that immigration hole, but that I have an exchange student with me right now from Ecuador, and Ecuador is the capital, is the central point where everybody's going into. Because Ecuador requires no visa, right, to get into, and so from very few countries, and so the people go into Ecuador, and then they come up through that whole Darien Gap, et cetera, et cetera. And I did see an article, but I don't know if it's true or not. The article is real, but they tried to make it look like that whole housing facility was mostly destroyed by a riot that the immigrants all got into. I think they're just trying to blow off a lot of the attention they're getting down there because a lot of people started going down there. Like there was some, we saw a couple of videos, we talked about going down, and while we were talking about going down, a bunch of people went down, and I'm sure they're planning on doing it too. to go down and see for themselves. And so now you came out with this article last week. So, it's a lot of it's destroyed so many, like six of the bunkers, and they got a big riot, and because they got in a fight over a pair of shoes or something like that. I don't know, but I don't know how real that is, because that, we're getting back to, we're talking about the spin on the government, right? But here's what I want to say. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole too much either, because we could really open up where that's coming from, because it's bigger than the United States government. This is coming from the World Economic Forum and the United Nations. This is an agenda outside of a democratic process, if you will. And I'm not a big advocate of democracy, because democracy in and of itself is evil. You can thwart democracy. It's a republic through a democratic process, right?
Well, look at our currency, even in Costa Rica. Did you know it's now under 500 colones through the dollar?
Oh, that hasn't been that in years.
Yeah, this is brand new. So the devaluation of the US dollar is just it's plummeting. And
we're not the world currency anymore. We're not the petrodollar anymore.
Well, we knew that was happening, but now this is real time. This is what's going on. So
my gold and silver. Hey, but let's jump into this now. Let's play this video. We're going to play this video with Stossel and Gloria Alvarez.
Yeah,
I want you to hear this video because it's really important, and we'll put the link down below. We left it before, we tried to do a couple weeks ago. So let's listen a little bit. This, and we're going to talk a little bit, unpack this. Walter.
Comunista se basa en dos fases.
Gloria Alvarez, here she's dressed like a Soviet apparatchik, is a viral influencer.
Esta es la primera fase.
She educates people about the failures of socialism. Here she tells the Spanish legislature,
Nada es gratis.
nothing is free. This group liked that. But in Latin America, where she's from, leftists like these people dressed in orange sometimes stop her from speaking. They don't like that Alvarez says things like,
Socialism is responsible for 100 million deaths.
Alvarez was once a Stossel TV fellow, where she did this video.
Where has socialism ever worked? Nowhere.
This video got 15 million views. And now,
You're running for president of your country?
I am. I'm running for president of Guatemala.
Guatemala is one of Latin America's poorer countries. It veers between crony capitalism and socialism. What she's seen makes her want to warn people about socialism.
You're teaching millennials socialism?
Yes. This came out after a survey where they said that every 10 millennials, 8 of them would support socialism. But then when they were asked to define or describe socialism, none of them could. So I grabbed a Soviet hat that I bought in St. Petersburg, and I put a Che Guevara sticker with Mickey Mouse ears, and I started explaining Marxism and communism and socialism from its very beginnings until its current days in Latin America. And the basic premise was that, like, when Marx was around, there was no psychology. We didn't know that we are wired to have self-esteem and self-interest. So it's a obsolete idea that has unfortunately killed millions of people. And yeah, it's one of the videos.
Let's unpack some of this a little bit.
Minutes, and they
she's really good, and she's really on top of things, like we talked about before. We don't agree 100% with some of the stances she takes. However, the idea of the deceptive tactics that Marxism brings, and with that all of its facets, right? Socialism, fascism, and communism all come through Marxism. The thing about Marxism, even socialism, is just so deceptive. It's I heard people say before, oh, it sounds good on paper, but in practicality, it's not. Then I heard somebody, I think I was at a live conference, and he said to me, it doesn't even sound good on paper. Just read it. Just look at it. Yeah. And it does not look good even on paper. It takes away agency. There's no agency there, right? So, in the church's stance on socialism, on Marxism in general, used to be very, very, very vocal. In fact, there's, I'll put down below too that from Elder Romney, he spoke out and more than once against all the facets of Marxism, right? That we're talking about now. It used to be very vocal. Now because I think we're in so many of these socialist countries, right? And what people don't realize is in 1990, Brazil held a forum. It's called the São Paulo Forum. And it was just after the wall fell in Berlin, right? 89. And so Russia asked Castro to organize a meeting with all these young upcoming leaders. Now, I didn't know where those leaders came from. I do know now. They're being groomed by the World Economic Forum, and that's what they've been all about since 1971, was initiating Marxism throughout the world. And they bragged that they are in all of the major countries now, and that they have people coming up, young people coming up, these millennials and even younger coming up into positions now where they will soon have a great majority of the world in line in members of the World Economic Forum. Now, that's where a lot of this is coming from, this agenda. There's your Gadianton and robbers. They're just secret combinations. And that's exactly what that is. You know, where there's nothing in the Book of Mormon ever tells us that we ever eliminated secret combinations. They've been here since the whole Cain and Abel issue, and they will be here until we're done. In fact, we were going through this the other day with my daughter. We're reading the scriptures, and we're talking about the war in heaven and Satan being cast out. You know, that war is still being fought, Jeff. That war is still here. And it was all about Marxism. All the idea was about tyranny, right? About controlling us.
It's rooted in taking away our free will.
And taking a free will. Now we can say, well, we can be acceptance. You don't accept Marxism in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. It's a virus. It's a disease. And that's what's wrong with the church today, is Marxism has penetrated this gospel. Elder Benson, President David O. McKay, J. Reuben Clark, we can go down the list, has been warning us of this penetration since the 1950s. And we weren't listening because we didn't want to believe that could happen to us. And here we are. Here we are, divided exactly like they warned us, because we let Marxism penetrate, and we got members of church and bishops running with this whole woke agenda, and we are forgetting about where our allegiance needs to be. And it's not about other people's feelings. It's about principles and standards. Take it from there, Jeff.
Well, you're right. We got to curb stomp that socialist, communist head, you know, and I know that a lot of people are like, oh, you know, the whole idea of, you know, going after people that are communist, you know, this isn't the McCarthy area. No, you know what? But all of our, you know, prophets of not too long ago and apostles were very outspoken for a good reason against Marxism. You and I have both experienced Marxism on a very modern day level. When I left Alaska for my motorcycle ride down to Costa Rica, one of the main reasons, you know, that I had left is because, you know, we had just invaded Iraq, which I was always against that war from the very beginning. I'm like, hey, this is stupid. Why are we going to Iraq when we should be going after bin Laden?
I thank you for being with us on Courageous Conviction. Remember, there's 5 episodes each week that we put out. We have to go down a lot of rabbit holes, so stay with us. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and don't miss tomorrow's episode on Courageous Conviction.